Honk, honk, honk. Honk, honk, honk. Honk, honk. Honk, honk. Woo! Yeah, honk, honk.
Resist! U.S.
Honk, honk. Honk, 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 honk. Honk, honk, honk. Honk, honk. Honk, honk. Lots of fun at the potluck. And lots of cars honking too. So we're doing pretty good.
Indivisible potluck and action! Yay! Woo! So I belong to an organization where we like to identify who's in the room or who's in the park or who's in the group. So raise your hand if you're here from not any Indivisible group at all. You don't belong to any of the Indivisible groups. Yay! So we're going to ask that you sign up over there if you'd like to be involved. Raise your hand if you're from the Marina Indivisible group. Yay, Marina! How about Monterey County Indivisible? Yay, Monterey County! How about New Monterey Indivisible? Yay! Salinas Indivisible. All right, yay! Okay, how about there's one with the word hill in it, Indivisible on the Hill or something like that? No? Okay. Yes?
No.
Okay, Sister Resistors. Yay! Okay, and Indivisible Monterey Bay. And did I miss one? Another Indivisible group. Oh yeah, 831 Indivisible.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, and Tyler, raise your hand if your name is Tyler, with 2 L's. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Tyler. Thank you. Oh, I'm Elena Loomis, by the way, one of the co-founders of Indivisible Monterey Bay, so welcome.
Thank you, Elena. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background, if you guys haven't been active with our group at least, so right before the inauguration, we decided that there had to be something that we did to help people that had energy that wanted to do something to resist the Trump agenda. So somehow Gary, Elena, and I got together and we decided to start this Indivisible group, and this is what it's turning out to be. So anyways, I appreciate everybody coming out today, being present, and just having a little bit of time of relaxing, doing a little bit of rallying. This is the stuff that we should be doing. I mean, working and living together in our community. So thank you for being out here. I think one of the main things that I wanted to be able to achieve today is just to get us ready. Who's heard of the town hall that's going to be happening in Capitola next weekend? Who had no idea that it was happening? So next weekend, Jimmy Panetta is going to be having a town hall in Capitola. So my goal is to kind of get people's minds wrapped around that, a little bit of strategy building so that we can be prepared when we go. So first things first, about getting up there. Hopefully we don't ride individually up there. Hopefully we can do some ride sharing. So let's plan to, if you're able and willing, to meet at the parking lot at Home Depot. What time does the event start? Does anybody? 10 a.m. 10 a.m.? So the thing is that I think there's like 500 seats or something, but we're going to be competing for seats from everybody that's already living up there. So we need to make sure that we get up there early enough so that we don't get up there and don't have a seat and we can't get in. So it takes an hour to get up there. Probably want to get there at least an hour ahead of time. I'm thinking like 8:30 is probably a good time to meet up.
Saturday or Sunday?
It's Saturday. So on Saturday, let's plan to meet in the Home Depot parking lot at 8:30. The Seaside Home Depot. I mean, if there's folks that are in Salinas that want to have a conversation and meet up, I'm just trying to make it easier for folks so that way we can kind of try to find a way to carpool up there. So that's just, I think, logistics of as far as getting up there. Now, as far as how the town hall is going to function, it's probably going to be open mic. So they're probably just going to allow anybody that can get to the mic first to get up there and ask questions. So what we've done with our Indivisible group is we posted a survey a few weeks ago with the different various topics that could be discussed to kind of get a feeling of what are the most important issues for people in this area. So from that list, we sent a second survey out to ask people what kind of questions should we ask. So I'm sure a lot of you haven't seen that. I encourage you guys to find the survey link. It's on our Facebook page. If you're part of our email distribution list, you should have received the survey in an email. So we want to keep that survey live. I encourage you to go on and put that there. On Saturday, when we all get together, I'll come with a list of questions in priority order, so that way everybody in our group can have those lists of priorities so that we can best represent the people that are in our community when we get there. And there's a little bit of a strategy behind it rather than going up there and asking an issue that might just be important to yourself. Yeah, so we're trying to represent everybody.
You're against free speech?
If you want to go there and speak on your own issue, I encourage you to do that.
Thank you.
But I am also trying to find a way where we can represent the people that aren't going to be able to make it. And so that's why we did the survey. I encourage you to go on there and ask and submit your questions. So I will bring that on Saturday. So if you get there if you don't show up to the carpool group and you get there, by yourself, or you don't get the sheet, make sure you find one of the organizers to get the list of questions in priority order. And the goal is, now here's the strategy. The goal is that we don't sit next to each other when we're at the event, because we don't know where the mics are going to be. So we want to make sure that while everybody is sitting throughout the room, whoever can get to the mic first, you start with the first question on our priority list, and as many of us that can ask the questions on our priority list, we can maximize that by sitting separate from each other. So don't sit next to somebody that you know. Don't sit next to somebody that's already in our group, because it's going to make it harder for us to get to the mic first and ask the questions that are important to us. So I would keep an eye out for that. I can also post it on Facebook, so that way if people want to access it on Facebook, we'll come with hard copies of that, so that way people can have that when they go into the event. So now the last part here that I want to do to get us ready for the event is just to do a little bit like a mini training about how to ask questions appropriately so that we can get the best bang for our buck. Okay, so I'm going to post this on Facebook as well so that everybody can see it there, but let me just run this through with you guys real quick. So the first is, keep your eye on the prize. Your job isn't to convince your member of Congress, it's to make him or her give you an answer or make clear to all watching that they refuse. So our goal isn't to get them up there and start, doing their traditional, fillers and things that we don't want to hear. We want to hear that they're refusing the Trump agenda. That is the goal. So keep your eye on the prize. The second thing is, be a storyteller. Incorporate your own personal story in your question. Keep in mind, your audience is as much your neighbors and fellow town hall attendees as it is the member of Congress. Be honest, be vulnerable, and tell stories that matter. So I encourage you all that while we're waiting for the event to start, to look over the questions, so that way if you're able to get to the mic first and you see that it's this time to ask this particular question, you have a story to share when you're asking the question to relate to. So everybody can find a way of connecting. Whether it's an immigration issue that you know of somebody in your community, share that personal story before you ask the hard-asked question to the member of Congress. The third part is make a concrete, verifiable ask. The best asks are clear, actionable for the member of Congress, and easy to verify whether they follow through or not. If you ask any member of Congress, will you fight for me? Every single one of them will say yes. And then you go about their day. If you ask them, will you commit to voting against X upcoming bill? They may answer directly, or they may lie. But regardless, they will adjust their decision-making calculus, right? So even though we might not get the answer that we want, if we're pressing them hard on the issues and we're asking the questions in the right way, we're going to make them think about that issue in a different way. So how you ask the question is important. The fourth step, there's only 5 steps, so bear with me, 2 more steps here. The fourth step, don't settle for talking points. Member of Congresses love to fall back on a set of canned responses to your real questions. Don't let them. Force them to engage with your humanity. Okay? The 5th one, know your strengths. Just want to show up on the town hall but don't want to ask a question, that's okay. Showing up is doing your part. You're supporting everyone else in the room. Be honest about your strengths and limitations, because that will make the work stronger. So if you want to help encourage somebody that might be a good speaker to go up and get to the mic and be that first person at the mic, encourage them to do so. If you don't feel like you're the best person and it's something that you might want to work on over time, maybe let other folks do it for now and kind of learn from the trade, and then maybe, after a while you can develop some courage and do that. So anyways, that's our little mini lesson there about how to ask a question. I hope that's been helpful. And just so I can get a show of hands, who actually plans on going to the town hall next weekend? Okay, very good. All right, so we'll be posting that on Facebook. So even if you can't go, maybe what your contribution can be is to share it on Facebook, share it, and encourage people in your family and your friends to go. And let's go out there and do this. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hey, is it working now? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, one thing is not to forget that at Jimmy Panetta's town hall meeting, he's the focus of our attention. He's one focus of our attention. I think the other focus of our attention is each other. And what I would encourage people to do, and maybe we'll just bring name tags. I think it's important that we get to know each other, wear name tags, maybe even introduce ourselves to somebody in Santa Cruz. Most of the people that are going to be in Santa Cruz, they're our allies. We should know who they are. There should be groups there just like ours. I think it's important that when we have a chance, like Tyler said, that we sort of infiltrate in the audience, that we meet people and exchange phone numbers and ways of contact so we can get back in touch and work with people and build our strength in this congressional district. So actually I'll bring name tags. I think it's important that we get to know each other as well as getting to know our member of Congress. Thank you.
So one last point, how we've developed our Indivisible group is by building roles, so that way we can be a little bit more effective in executing our community outreach. So there are some leads for our roles here today, and I encourage you all to maybe find something that fits you best and connect with some of those leads so that you can help us kind of continue building our community organizing efforts. And so you doing your small part in whatever these roles are, I think is a step in the right direction. So I'm just going to introduce some of them. If you want to connect with them, if you find interest in that particular role, definitely outreach to them so that maybe you can find a way to support them. So I'm going to start with this guy over here. This is Dominic Dursa. He's our recording lead. So give it up for Dominic. So if you like taking pictures, if you like recording events, he's a person to talk to, right? And even if you don't want to be part of the team necessarily, if you just like taking pictures, work with him on getting those to us, because we kind of keep track of all the photos that are used in our group so that we can have like an inventory of all those. So anyways, Dominic is recording. We have Mike Ginn back here. He's our data coordinator lead. Give it up for Mike. So if you're really good with the computer, and you like data, he's the person to talk to. So they need a lot of help with coordinating those efforts. Who else do I have? We have Nan Johnson. Give it up for Nan for actually coordinating this event for us today. So Nan is our event coordination lead. So if you want to help out in coordinating events at all, connect with her. Who else do we have? Do we have anybody else here? We have Catherine. She is our member of Congress tracking lead. So give it up for Catherine. So what her group does is they have 3 sub-teams that track each of our members of Congress. So we have a Panetta sub-team, we have a Feinstein sub-team, and we have a Harris sub-team. So if you're on our Facebook group, you would see a post that we make every week that gives an update about what's going on with all 3 of our members of Congress. So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go on and look at that. But they need help in doing that research, because right now there's a limited people of doing that, and the more help that they have with those subgroups, the less work that those people have to do as far as doing the research. Like perhaps all that you would have to do is maybe focus on Jimmy Panetta participating in a certain committee that he's involved in, right? So anyways, she needs a lot of help there, so I encourage folks to go that way. Anna here, give it up for Anna. Yeah, no, Anna's the volunteer coordination lead. So kind of what they do is, did you guys make calls for folks to come to this event? Okay, so what they do is they follow up with folks before we have events. So one thing I like everybody to keep in mind is just to be a little bit patient with us as we get things up and going, because we're still trying to build the network and how we operate things here. But some roles have more strengths than others right now. So she definitely needs a lot of help. If people are able and willing, that job is really good if people just want to be able to pick up the phone and invite people to come to our events. So kind of what the goal is for the volunteer coordinators is to get a phone list. You might call 10 to 20 people and just say, hey, tomorrow we have this event going on. We see that you signed up. I just wanted to call and remind you to make sure that you can get out there if you're still able and willing. So if you are interested in doing that at all, I encourage you to connect with Anna. Did I miss anybody that's here? There's some other roles, but they're not here. At the very least, I encourage you to sign up on the sign-up sheets. Hey, Gary, do you have the sign-up sheets? So they're on the table over here behind everybody, so I encourage you to sign up before you leave. Thank you so much for coming out today. Yes, ma'am.
What's the best website?
So our website is Indivisible Monterey Bay. Google us on Facebook, not Google us, but do the search on Facebook. Let me just describe something. I know this can be really confusing to folks. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook page, right? So the Facebook group is for two-way conversation. So if you want to have a community of people that you talk to online about the different issues that are happening, the Facebook group is the place to go for that. If you just want one-way communication so that you know what's going on in the community, that's the Facebook page. So that way you don't have to get involved in all the conversations that are happening. You can just hear what's going on with our group. So whichever one you prefer, I encourage you to go on and like our Facebook page. I encourage you to go on and request to be a member on our Facebook group. So is there any other questions? Okay. Yes, I'm going to pass it off to Elena here.
Okay. Well, one other place where you can find out about things that are going on is a brand new calendar called 831 Community Involvement Calendar. So I encourage you to also look at that. And if you have a Facebook page, if you're part of an Indivisible group and you haven't yet posted that to your page, please do that. Or if you're a part of another progressive group that's having events that might want to not conflict. Like, for example, today we're conflicting with two other things. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but at least you know. So then the other thing is, we thought it might be useful if I'll say it again, 831 Community Involvement Calendar. And we thought also if we could get one person from each Indivisible group that's here, or two, and we just would have a quick little meetup to think about how we can collaborate better, communicate better, work together, and so on. Florence, did you want to? So if before everybody leaves, and I'm going to pass this off to Florence, if a person from each of the groups that's here could be right where Tyler is, it'll take like 5 or 10 minutes for us to talk for a few minutes.
Just a quick thing, we're having our meeting April 6th, and one thing that we're really working on is getting people registered to vote and helping people register voters. So, yeah, and I'm Marina Indivisible. I'm a separate entity, but we work together. So we would really love to see you guys come. I'm looking to put on a training soon. I'm hoping in 2 weeks, because I know the first training was a little bit inconvenient in the sense that it was on a Wednesday afternoon. So I'm hoping to allow it to be on a weekend, so that way we can train you, so that way you're all ready to go when it comes to do those voter drives.
Okay, great. So if we could take 5 or 10 minutes of your time, come and hang the leadership or anybody representing an Indivisible group.
I just want to do one more thing before everybody walks away. So if you know this, join along, but if you don't, you'll get it, you'll catch on. Fired up!
Ready to go!
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 Let's go out and change the world! Thank you everybody for coming out today.